Greetings makers, this is Amy with Softwind Crafting. I'm an independent demonstrator from Stampin' Up! And today I'm going to show you how to make this sweet card from using a card sketch that I've got from the catalog, and I use the Made with Sweetness. Really, I'd use the dies. I didn't use the stamp set, but I did use the dies that came from the online exclusives that came out sometime in the spring. And it came out also with the Made with Sweetness stamp set and dies. It came out a little bit after that, and they kind of complemented that stamp set. It complemented the paper that went along with that. And I kind of put the paper aside. Let me see if I can grab it out again, if I can reach it. Here we go. So this is the homemade sweetness paper that kind of went. It was a sweet, and so this was the paper. It had these different jars of different kinds of honeys and things, jams. It had honey. It didn't have different kinds of honeys. It had jams. It has this on the back with some like notebook paper. You have the flowers. It has like a checkered board. You have on the back like this cute, I think this is strawberry slush. Okay, so you have like, I think this is moonlight, misty moonlight. You have spoons in misty moonlight with this really sweet heart design on the back. You have this checkerboard with this really cute ladybug pattern. And one of the embossing folders that came with the suite was a ladybug picnic pattern. Very cute. This flower pattern, and this what I'm using on with the paper today. This notebook pattern with these jars, and these jars cut out super cute to make really cute pieces that you could put on a card, some fruit that you can cut out. But that's what these dies kind of match up to make. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some dies, and that's what's on the front of this card. But instead of making a birthday card, I'm going to go ahead and make a card for a friend of mine who had moved from her town that she'd been living in for a while, and she just got a new job in the town she moved to, and so I want to make a kind of a congratulations card for her. And I'm going to use this particular card to do so. Okay, so but we're going to use the dies from this Made with Sweetness dies. So let me show you what we're going to be using. So here on the side, I have the Granny Apple Green ink, and I have some crushed curries, and these are complementary colors that go with the paper in that Homemade Sweetness paper DSP. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We have a piece of basic white cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece for the inside. It is 5 1/4 by 4, and this will be for the inside of the card. I have a piece of Granny Apple Green, and this is 3 inches by 4 1/4, and you can see I already die cut from the middle. And since this is going to be covered up, I figured might as well die cut from the center, and that's what I did. We have the DSP, and I just cut it down 1/4. So this was, since this was 3 inches, I took this as, well, no, this one I made a little bit more. This I did as 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and so this is 3 inches by 4 1/4. So it's just going to layer. They're going to be the same way across, and they're going to be the same width as the front of the cardstock. Okay, but this is going to give kind of a little bit of a little edge, and you can see that inside the card, the blue looks like denim, Misty Moonlight, but it has Granny Apple Green flowers, and it has crushed curry in the center of the flowers. I really think that's pretty. Okay, so I have a label that I cut out using the Sweet Words and Labels set. This is part of that Winnie the Pooh labels set. So I'm going to use that to put my greeting. Okay, I have 3 pieces of can tell how old I am, and I'm saying Whisper White, basic white. They are 1 1/4 by 2 3/4. So 1 1/4 by 2 3/4, and there are 3 of them, and they're going to go across the front to be in the front of this. And then I used my die so that I can cut a peach, a cherry, and a set of blackberries. And so for the dies, what I did is I used these 2 pieces. This die I cut out, I used Peach Pie, which is a retired color. And this one, I used Timid Tiger, okay, to get the darker shade. This 2, I cut out using both Blackberry Bliss. For the leaf, I color, or the leaf right here, I cut out in Granny Apple Green. In this leaf for the cherry, I cut out in Granny Apple Green. The cherry, I cut out in Real Red. So that's going to give me my 3 fruits that I'm going to use for the front of the card. And I just picked them because I wanted to use something I don't normally use. I normally, you know, for all the other sets I have, I always have strawberries or blueberries. And so I wanted to use something different. Okay. All right. So those are my normal things that I use. I also have some retired ribbon that is Granny Apple Green. It's called the Textured Weave Ribbon. It's really heavy. And so I can tie it in a bow fairly easily, but it makes a really thick bow, makes it more difficult to mail. So I decided that instead of doing it as a bow, I'm just going to kind of do it as a kind of like a fold over and make it a little, it's going to be flatter. I have also some retired gems. It has it in like, that reminds me, I don't know if they're very light green. They go with the Granny Apple Green real easily, but they also match that kind of peachy color real well too. So they both work, I think, real well with this particular card. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do, let me put all these little, well, let's go ahead and just kind of glue those pieces together so they don't get lost, because have a tendency to lose little itty bitty pieces. All right, so the first thing I want to do, I guess, is I'm going to glue my blackberry together. So I'm just going to put little dots of glue, and if you have, what is it called? The, good golly, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. The tape where you can, the sticky tape where you can just put it on backing on the back and then cut it out. I can't remember what it's called. My mind just went completely blank. You could put that on the back and adhesive tape, adhesive backing. I don't know. You could do that too. The dots work as well. So I'm just going to put that there, and then we're going to take our little Granny Apple leaf. Now, when I buy blackberries, the leaf is already gone. But I saw somebody, you know what the thing is, I was looking for some ways that these were put together, and I could not find on Pinterest or on YouTube any cards with this. I think I found one card, but they weren't really using, I think I found one card and it had this particular fruit and they used the leaf. That's it. That's all I saw. And so I said, well, I guess I'll put a leaf. But like I said, when I buy blackberries, they don't really have a leaf on them. But I don't know, I guess they're kind of interesting with the leaf, so I thought I'd do a leaf. All right, so for the peach, on this one you need to be careful because it's so easy to get too much glue. So we're going to put just a smidgen of glue. Just got to be very careful that you're using very tiny dots. And you don't even need to go all the way up to the top. Just there along the edges. And you'll notice that these edges line up. Okay, they line up. And we're just going to lay that on there. And then again, take the bottom and we just add a little smidgen. Remember with the glue, you just need a light touch with it. This green glue is very strong. It doesn't require a lot. Okay, let's add. See if I can move that over a little bit. Got too close, got too little bit and wasn't quite to the edge. So there we go. But that lined up better than the first time I did it. I used a little too much glue the first time I did it. All right, and so there we have that one. And now for the cherry, let's go ahead and add just I don't know if you want to add the cherry behind it. I'm going to put the cherry stem on top. And then I actually had to research where the leaf went on the cherry stem because once again, when I buy cherries, the leaf is gone. And so I never seen the leaf on the cherry, so see that it's at the top of the stem. And so there we have our 3 little fruits ready to go. All right, so on this card, I decided I wanted to do some shading. So I'm going to use some crushed curry on my 3 little blocks here. So let me grab some scratch paper. Oh, one of the things I didn't show you, when I went into, I was looking for kind of a sketch, and on this catalog, in previous catalogs, they had a page where they had different sketches that you could try out. And this one, they do have some sketches, okay, but they have a QR code that you could scan for free templates. And so I did that, and this is where I found that. Now I can't really show you the sketch because it's on my phone and I'm using my phone to record, but I kind of sketched it out, and this is what it kind of looks like. It was just kind of like this with 3 little rectangles and then a thing. So we're going to kind of modify it a little bit because I don't want to, I'm having fruit along the 3 here, so I don't want to put my greeting across the way there. But that's basically the template that I'm using that I got from the catalog. But anyway, you'll see here you have like a QR code where you can go in and look for these templates. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is we're going to, whoops, let me get my little scratch paper so we can do our shading. I'm going to grab my crushed curry. And so what I'm going to do is I have my man, I cannot find my words today, my little blending brushes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some ink, and so this is from my yellows. And so I've already used it today for crushed curry, but how I clean it is I just kind of like rub it off on the paper until it comes fairly clean. You can wash them with soap and water and let them dry, but you can just clean them off by just like rubbing them out on your paper. And then you just kind of pick up your ink. And I was taught to kind of like start off on the paper on the side and then just kind of come over in circles and then just kind of come along and just kind of come along in the way. and just kind of keep going around and using small circles and just kind of off from the side and just blending with small circles. And you can go in, you can always add more ink, but it's better to start with less and add more than have too much and then not being able to take it away. Okay, so get this corner up here, and then we'll go to the next one, pick up some ink, start off on the side, kind of blending with small circles and just kind of trying to get around the edges. So what I'm trying to do is kind of pick up that crushed curry that's in the flowers. And I think it looks really pretty with the granny apple green. I like that color combination. And I don't hardly think about pulling out crushed curry very often. Okay, and then one more. Pick up a little bit more ink. And just doing again small circles. And if you want to, you could go into the whole paper. I want to leave some white space in the center. I just kind of wanted to have the edges done. This is a small rectangle, so that yellow, the yellow from the crushed curry is going to really take up a lot of the space as it is. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to do it for the inside of the card as well. And gosh, this seems... Gosh, it seemed kind of wide. I don't know, I was looking at it and it seemed kind of wide. So here, I just wanted to do this as well for the inside of the card as well. Sometimes I forget to do things to the insert of the card. I forget it exists. Or I do something like usually stamp something in it, a flower, or add some designer series paper, but I don't think about doing some blending on it. Some ink blending that I could have done. So again, just keeping it small circles. You can always add more ink, but you can't take away the ink. All right, so I'm going to stop there. And I do want to do one more blending bit, and I want to do some with Granny Apple Green. So I'm going to set that brush aside, and I'm going to pull out my Granny Apple ink, and I'm going to pull out where I'm going to do my greeting. And so do the same thing. I'm going to pick up some Granny Apple ink, Granny Apple, and then I'm just going to do small circles. And I'm just going to go along the edges of my greeting label. And I went and I did a little too much on the one that I did with the happy birthday. So I'm just going to try to not be so crazy with this one. Just want to kind of get that edge to it. I think that looks really good. All right, so I'm going to stop there with my blending brushes. All right, so I think the next step that I want to do is I want to actually do my stamping. So what I'm going to do for my greeting is I'm not going to do happy birthday, because like I said, I'm going to do this for my dear friend who just got a new teaching position in a new town. And so on the outside of the card, I'm actually going to use Flowering Meadow, because a lot of my stamp sets are being used. I'm having a stamp class tomorrow, and my stamps are being used for other purposes. So I'm going to use So Many Reasons to Celebrate for the label, and on the inside, I'm going to put Cheering You On. And then I'm going to write her a note congratulating her on her new position. And like a lot of my blocks are being used too, so I'm relegated to one giant block, so I need to be very careful. All right, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp these two pieces in Granny Apple Green. Okay, so here we go. Let's kind of ink this up pretty good. All right, let's see. Hopefully I can get this. Gosh, this seems really light. All right, so let's make sure it's straight. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Pressing them, trying to get the ink to transfer well. Oh, that looks good. Okay, and so let me put this, I'm going to grab my chamois, and I'm going to give this a quick little wipe. And then I want to go ahead and grab Cheering You On. And this is going to go on to the inside of my card. And this is what I like about the photopolymer, is that because they're see-through, I can make sure they're straighter. But it's easier to get them straight if you lay them on and let them take their natural shape on there, and then put them on the stamp, than trying to get them on the stamp, because they're photopolymer, they do like to, they go their own way sometimes. They like to kind of like get a different shape when you're trying to put them on the, oh, let's put it up towards the top. Oh, let's put it up here in the corner. And there, letting the ink transfer. And there we go. So let me just set that aside, and I'll clean that here in a second. Just get that ink closed, so I don't stick my fingers in it. All right, so now we're ready to put the card together. Let me get this paper out of the way so you can see what we're doing. All right. So I want to go ahead and start with putting these two pieces together. So like I said, you can save, because you're going to have this covered up anyway. You can die cut out of that. Let's go ahead and add some glue. Glue is the Tombow. I guess I'm getting pretty low, because now it doesn't want to come out. Of course, it could have a hole plugged into it, and I may need to, and then of course once I get it unplugged, it's going to be a big old glob come out that's too much. Let me see if I can unpoke it. Ouch, and then I poked myself instead. Yep, look at that big old chunk of glue right there. Now I can't get it off. So here we go. Just remember, I heard somebody say it, a thin line is just fine. But I don't remember the rest of it. I don't remember the rest of it. I used to tell my students at school when we were doing interactive notebooks, dot, dot, not a lot. And then I heard somebody on a video for Stampin' Up! Say a dot is not a lot, a thin line is just fine. And then they had something else they said about something being too much, but I don't remember what it was exactly they said. Okay, so now we're going to put this, let me go ahead and give this a fold and burnish with the bone folder. Make sure that's going to be even. Burnish. So So I don't want this directly in the middle. I want it towards the upper end. And we're just going to put it so. Make sure though that it's straight. Sometimes I think it's straight, and even though I might line it up using my grid, it still doesn't come out straight. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to put these, glue these straight, but I want to make sure there's about 1/8 of a border around each. That looks about right. Okay, so we're going to start over here, trying to use the same border top to bottom and the side. Then we'll go here. I've tried starting in the middle, but because it's so far in the middle, it's hard to see where the line is to keep it the same. So I'm just trying to keep the same line. Okay. And then here we go with this last one again, matching it up along the lines. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to use some dimensionals to add this on. So I'm not going to stick them on just yet because I do want to make sure everything lines up, and I need to grab some of my ribbon, and I'm going to just cut off a piece here. And make sure that, and then I can trim it down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to the back of here with some tear-in tape. But I just want to make sure first. I don't want to put these on because I want to make sure they don't get in the way, or this doesn't get in the way of the fruit. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me grab some tear-in tape. And of course I did that without measuring it, so that's probably not going to work out for me. Okay, so yeah, it's probably going to be too short. Now I don't want to tear it off. I don't want to peel it off because I don't want this sticking to something else. So I'm just going to leave it as is. Okay, and then I'm going to add dimensionals to the other end. I'm not going to add any in the middle because it's already bulky in the middle. So, but I'm not going to take it off yet because I want to be able to see where everything else is going to line up first. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my dimensionals to the backs here. I'm not going to take anything off yet. Just kind of wanting to see where everything is going to end up. Okay, make sure it all kind of lines up, and then I can attach it. All right, so here is the cherry, the peach, the blackberries. Okay, so there we go. Let me trim this so that it's at an angle. Doesn't do too much unraveling. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and add that. There, okay. And so we're just kind of angling our fruit. You can put them up and down, just wherever you think looks pleasing. I like them like this. And then let's put our insert in. I am getting to the bottom of this glue bottle, but I like to use it till it's gone. My husband says I should just throw it away when it's getting done, but I don't like to waste it. They're getting they are so expensive. I want to use as much as I can before I toss it. That doesn't look very straight to me. There we go. That's better. All right. And there we go. There is my card, my celebration card from my friend, using the fruit from the, and I can't, where did I put those dies? The Made with Sweetness dies that I bought a long time ago, and this is the first time I pulled them out and actually used them. So I hope I inspired you to, if you have these, I hope I inspired you to pull them out and use them as well. And this is kind of like a fun, like I said, I just went on to the catalog and to the templates and pulled one out to try to use to make a card. And so I hope I inspired you to do the same. You don't have to necessarily use them exactly the way they are. So change them up and use them as you will. Use what you have and go out there and make a card today and have fun and use what you have, because we all have those crafting materials that we think we're going to save for something special, and then we never get around to using them. And now is the time to use those supplies and use them to make someone a special card. And don't forget, today is Saturday, June 13th. Today is the last day for free shipping. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. And if you do have a qualifying order today, I'd love to send you a card kit to go. If you have a qualifying order, actually, if you spend $50, I'll send you a card kit to go. But if you do have a qualifying order today, I'll also send you an embellishment. And also, you also have a chance, if you haven't already done so this month, if you spend $75, you have a chance to buy the product of the month for an additional $5. You do need to make sure that you need to add it to your cart. So not only to look at it, you have to add it to your cart as well. So if you have any questions, you can send me an email. I'd be happy to help you out. Again, I appreciate you watching my video today, and I wouldn't mind if you could give me a like and a subscribe. I'm close to having 100 subscribers. I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel, or to share and let anybody else you know who's interested in these kinds of videos to give me a watch. And I hope to see you soon. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you.